الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا متقبلا يا أرحم الراحمين. Oh Allah, teach us what benefit us, increase us in knowledge, in good morals and in good deeds, Ya Rabbal Alameen. We mentioned there are obligatory obligations or there are individual obligations on the Muslim that you have instantly to do, and some obligations or furood or fara'id that you can delay, right? If I want to do Hajj, for example, now in this moment I don't have to learn the rulings of Hajj, but when I have the capabilities and the money to go on Hajj, then I have to learn so that when I go I am ready and I do it in the right way. So there are some obligations which are instant. Tamam? They call it wajib ala al-fawr. What do they call it? Wajib ala al-fawr. Which means what? And there's wajib ala al-tarahi. Write them down. Wajib ala al-fawr. Wajib ala al-fawr means what? Instant obligation. Instant obligation. Wajib ala al-tarahi means non-instant. Non-instant. You don't have to do it right now. You can delay it. Okay? You can delay it. That is wajib ala al-fawr and wajib ala al-tarahi. Now, and we also said there are some obligations that are individual and some obligations that are communal, right? Like Salat al-Janazah, right? Like learning the details on the science of inheritance, right? You stopped it, right? Okay. Now, one of the main instant obligations on the Muslim, and the very first obligation on every single Muslim, is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the right way. Is to have the firm belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If any Muslim believes in Allah just because his parents believe in Allah, and he's not like firm, he's not like sure, then his iman is not accepted. His iman is not accepted. If he's not sure, he has doubt. Iman cannot accept doubt. You have to have certainty in your iman, certainty in your belief. But if someone is a Muslim just because my parents are Muslims, and I'm not sure. If you're not sure, you're not a Muslim. You're not a believer. You must have certainty. Iman means certainty. You must have certainty that has no doubt. Now, if you have doubt in some issues, sometimes you can have doubt in some issues which are not in the main belief. Then those doubts you have to go to the scholars to help you answer those doubts so that they don't affect your main belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So many scholars, they say وَأَوَّلُ وَاجِبٍ عَلَى الْمُكَلَّفِ, the first obligation on the responsible person is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with certainty, without any doubt, without any blind imitation. But if someone believes in Allah because his family believes in Allah, his community believes in Allah, and he has certainty, but he doesn't know the proofs. Look, very important distinction. He doesn't know the proofs, but he has certainty that his community are on the truth. That's accepted. But for us as Quran people, may Allah make us of the true Quran people, that should never be enough for us. That we just believe because our community believe and we're sure, alhamdulillah, but that's not enough. Because you carry the message of the Quran. You have to learn the proofs. So that when you communicate with your friends, when you communicate with others, when someone asks you a question, when someone raises a doubt, as now it's spread Many people, they talk about evolution. Some people are agnostic, some people are atheists, some people are, right, this and that. So many types of ideologies. You must have certainty. You must have proofs. Not only from the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because if you're going to have any discussion or dialogue with someone, you cannot tell him, the Quran says this, the Quran says Allah one, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Allah doesn't have a son, doesn't have, and this is what the Quran says. He will tell you, well, I don't believe this. The Quran is true, right? This is what they believe. So you have to start to prove to him that the Quran is true. Or you have to take another route, which is proving through logic and through universal facts. Some things that all humans, regardless of their background, agree on. Like there's no human being who is mindful who disagrees that 1 + 1 is 2. Right? Right? There's no human being with common sense who says, for example, that something can create itself. Something can create itself. Like who brought this universe? It brought itself. Right? That's nonsense. Right? That's nonsense. Any human being with common sense, he rejects this fact that something creates itself. Right? So this is an example of the way you have to discuss with others if you needed to, and to teach others. Now, this science which deals and talks about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the prophets alayhim salatu wassalam and these things is of course called ilm al-Aqeeda, the science of Aqeeda, or ilm al-Tawheed, the science of Tawheed, monotheism, or oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or ilm al-kalam, which is the science of speech. That's literally, but it doesn't mean science of speech. It means the science of Aqeeda. But why they called it ilm al-kalam? Because it's related, or it started more when some Muslims started talking about the attribute of speech that is related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And some people, they were trying to say that the Quran is created. So they wanted to abolish the whole belief system by claiming this, that the Quran is created. And if you say the Quran is created, this means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acquires new things, which is absolutely false. And we mentioned one day that God does not change. God does not change. His attributes do not change. Why? Who remembers? We mentioned this. Because if He changes, there are two options. You either change to what is better or to what is worse. Is there a third option for change? If He changes towards what's better, this means He was lacking something and He improved. That cannot be God. God is already perfect in everything. And if He changes towards what's worse, that is very negative, very bad. Means He lost some qualities. Right? So God does not change. And as we will see in this poem, inshallah, that everything that it changes is created. Everything that it changes is created. Okay. In the science of Aqeeda, there are many poems that the scholars wrote to make it easy for people, to make it easy for students to learn and to memorize. In every Islamic science or art, there is a poem, at least one or many poems in every science, in Arabic language, in Arabic grammar, in syntax, in semantics, in logic, in Aqeeda, in Arabic, in tajweed, in qira'at, in fiqh, in seerah, in all of them you have many poems, not only one. In this science, the Aqeeda science, I chose a poem called Al-Khareeda Al-Bahiyya. It's 71 verses by a great Imam from Egypt. And this poem has been explained by many scholars, and it has been accepted by many sheikhs. And it used to be one of the used to be in the syllabus of Al-Azhar University for many years. We mentioned why the scholars they put these sciences in poems, right? To make it easier, because you can sing it, right? يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. You can memorize it. You can easily memorize it. Of course, these poems, they need explanation, because the scholars, they condense the meanings in them. So the name of this poem, which covers the main beliefs of the Muslims, the main beliefs. So we're going to go over them, inshallah. We're going to not go into a lot of details, just something you can take it as a reference and learn it. So this is summarized, and there's another book which is not a poem but a book by Imam Al-Tahawi, which is Al-Aqeeda Al-Tahawiyya. Imam Tahawi was born 239 of the Hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he's from the Salaf. He's from the first 3 generations that were praised by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was born 239 and passed away 321. And all Muslims with all of their denominations, with all of their schools, let's say, they agree on the Aqeeda Tahawiyya. In some places, some of them understand it in different way from some others. But this is the reference that we will depend on, and I urge all of you to get this book, Al-Aqeeda Tahawiyya, translated by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf. All of you, I urge you to have this as a main reference in your book, in your library, in your house. Al-Aqeeda Al-Tahawiyya, translated by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf. We're gonna comment on it and quote a lot from it, inshallah, also in this poem. The author of this poem is called Al-Sheikh Ad-Dardir, Ahmad Ad-Dardir. That's the summarized name, Ahmad Ad-Dardir. He was born 1127, 1127 of the Hijrah. What year are we in now? 1430. What year are we in now in the Hijri calendar? 1439. So he was born 1127. 1127. How many years ago? About 300. Right? 300 years ago. He was Sheikh of the Azhar, the main scholar of the Azhar, and this book and many books were part of the curriculum in Al-Azhar. Al-Khareeda means the beryl. And he is Al-Bahiyya means the beautiful beryl. Okay, 71 verses of poetry. And he is a scholar in the Maliki fiqh, the Maliki jurisprudence. But yet this poem is not only circulated and studied and memorized by the Maliki scholars, it's studied by scholars of all schools. So it's accepted by all of the Sunni schools. This scholar wrote many books. His name is Ahmad ibn Ad-Dardir Al-Adawi Al-Maliki Al-Azhari Al-Khalwati Rahimahullah. Abu al-Barakat. Abu al-Barakat, the father of the blessings, means because they believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showered him with many blessings. So they call him Abu al-Barakat. He had many books. He wrote many books in Quran, in Aqeeda, in Arabic, in fiqh. One of his most famous books on fiqh is his explanation of Matan Khalil, which is one of the main authorities in the Maliki fiqh. Also, he has Aqrab al-Masalik ila fiqh al-Imam Malik. So Al-Khareeda is what? That's the title of the poem. What is Al-Khareeda? What does it mean? You can make adhan, inshallah. What is Khareeda? What does it mean? Khareeda, I mentioned. So the title of the poem is what? Al-Khareeda, which means the pearl that has not been pierced, right? Pierced, right? The pearl that has not been pierced means it's beautiful pearl that has not been touched. That's Khareeda. And Bahiyya means what? Beautiful, wonderful, beautiful. So that is the title of the poem. Inshallah, we will start this poem next time. I'm gonna email you the textbook. It's just 71. We're gonna make it quick, inshallah. Then we can move to another science. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Any question about anything we mentioned?